It's a way of explaining it could totally be cut out of context, but it does hammer the point home. Like every single person now, you're going to remember this too, where it's like, make yourself laugh. You're like, oh yeah, emotional masturbation, right? And when you do that too, by the way, and letting go does this as well. It gets you so much just out of your head and just in the groove of things that's when true, being modest, genius comes out. Like this whole segment here, once more, top of my head. Didn't know I was going to go there. Didn't know I was going to make different jokes. Didn't know I was going to mention that. Literally, top of my head. And that's a skill anyone can cultivate. That's also part of not running out of things to say. Like you should be able to talk and talk and talk and talk. All of you have a lifetime of experience. Not having something to say is an injustice to life. Like think of how many years you were alive. Like how old are you? 24. 24 years of life. And being like, I have nothing to say, is literally saying, so you've been here in this thing called life for 24 years. How was it? Not much to say about it. Right? Everyone has something to say. Even if you just connect to that little voice, all of you have that little voice in your head right now yapping about. Unless you're completely enlightened. And that's what we tell ourselves. I have nothing to say. No mind. Enlightenment. No, there's something going on. You're just not saying it. Lower the bar. This is also huge. Lower the bar and realize that, one, having a high bar will stifle you, and even if you do it perfectly, it'll come off really weird, and try hard. Let this land. So we all have this filtering mechanism, right? So you have all those experiences, all those thoughts. And what happens is you identify one and you're like, is this good enough? My bar is very high, and depending on how much value you place on who you're talking to, the bar will be higher and higher. Not good enough. What about this? Not good enough. What about this? Okay, that's good enough. So you have this bar. The key is lower the bar, get rid of the bar, let it flow. Because let's just say you were even able to pull it off, where everything you say is just 10 out of 10, it'll come off as way too perfect and try hard and weird. Right? It's like going, you can say two people who say go to a high-end venue. Let's say you go to a really nice restaurant, people are dressed up. One person could go the route of the over-the-top tuxedo, that's shiny, just like really all about it. And you'd be like, oh, I guess that's cool, but a little too try-hard. Like that person really took this seriously. And then you could take another person who goes there in sweatpants. You're like, whoa, how did that person get in? Whoa, that's so much. It's just very, it's like that person is so cool, they can break the rules of being cool. That's it. You are so high value that you can talk about the most boring things and still be cool and make that interesting. Lower the bar. You have a lifetime experience. Just say it. Say whatever. Right? No matter what. Say, I like salad, like we talked about. You can be like, I like salad, and talk about salads. It can be captivating. Right? And also people are not so much focused on the words. They're just focused on the energy, on the vibe. It really doesn't matter what you talk about. Of course, it has to make sense to a degree. But in terms of people getting sucked in, you being interesting, that's really the flow. And when you lower this bar too, it allows for, again, that genius to come through. You can't force genius. You can, it sounds cheesy, but it's true. You can't force genius. You can only create the space for genius to come through and blossom. Like this seminar bit here that I did, if I had pre-planned it, and let's just say I'd really studied it and pre-planned it, it's like then insert joke, then go to emotional masturbation. And say I was like following this logical plan, the experience we would have had, my delivery and your experience receiving that delivery would be completely different. It'd be like, oh, okay, it's, I guess, funny, but it's a little, you sense it's agenda-based, kind of attached to the outcome, going through the motions, not letting it flow. You got to learn how to get yourself in that state of just let go, let it flow.